Call the meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Let's begin by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay. First thing on the agenda is the roll call. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Maria Mills Benet.
Here.
Bo Bofamy.
I'm here. Thank
Tom Jordan. Lance Green.
Here.
Newton White.
Here.
John Junko.
Here.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Here. Next thing we need to do is consider the minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, let's have a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Was it 6-0 tonight? Yeah, something like that. 6-0. Next on the agenda is the application for the small-scale comprehensive plan future use map amendment. And what we're going to do, both these first two, 4 and 5, are related. So we're going to do like we did last time. We're going to open them both up. We'll have the discussion, and then we'll have separate votes on the two of them. Okay? Everybody understand what's going on with that?
Yes, sir.
So what I do first of all is I need a motion on 4 and then a motion on 5. Have a motion, please.
Motion to approve case number 21-20000002.
Second.
And then a motion on number 5, please.
Motion to approve case number 21-65000002.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. I guess we're going to have a presentation.
Gwen Prenny, planner. The first item is the small-scale future land use map amendment, and it's the request to amend the comprehensive plan future land use map to change the future land use designation for 1.44 acres from commercial to mixed-use center. The properties, the subject properties are here in the dark blue. The existing La Cantina restaurant at 4085 Ridgewood, and there's a sliver vacant parcel at 4147 Ridgewood. Currently, the properties have a future land use designation of commercial. The request is to amend them to the mixed-use center. The current commercial future land use category only allows non-residential type developments. The mixed-use center future land use category allows a percentage of the acreage within that category to be a combination of commercial, office, residential, and institutional. The applicant's proposed change is related to the PCD amendment, which is the next item. And what's proposed for the property is a mixed-use office and residential building at 4147, and then the existing restaurant at 4085 is to remain. In the staff report, we provided you the impact analysis based on the theoretical maximums for the properties, and the scenarios would show an increase in the impacts to the city infrastructure, but what is actually proposed for the PCD is a decrease from the theoretical maximum. And staff is recommending approval of the future land use map amendment. So is there any questions on that, or would you like me to move to the rezoning?
You want to just wait or go ahead and do this and we'll question you on all this stuff?
So the next case is the proposed rezoning of the 3 properties at 4009 Halifax, which is the catfish or Aunt Catfish on the River restaurant. The corner piece at 4075 Ridgewood, which is currently vacant, and the property at 4147, which is also currently vacant. The proposal is to rezone 1.88 acres total at those 3 properties from community commercial Ridgewood development to the PCD, which is shown on the right. The proposed Catfish Commons PCD area would be all of that area in red. along with the PCD rezoning is the proposed restatement of the current Catfish Commons PCD. The current Catfish Commons PCD is, I don't know if my cursor shows up.
Yeah, it does.
Basically, the current Catfish Commons PCD area is the property at 4085, which is the Cantina restaurant, and the property at 4108 Halifax, which faces Halifax. There's currently a house on that parcel, and then the garage apartment that you drive through. With the expanded PCD area, it shows the current Aunt Catfish on the River restaurant, their associated parking, the proposed multi-tenant building at the corner of Ridgewood and Dunlawton, and then the 3-story building on the south end of the PCD area. So with the proposed restatement, there are 6 policy issues, and we can go through those one by one. If you have any questions, let me know. First would be a drive-through for the multi-tenant building. Currently, the property is in the Ridgewood Overlay District, which restricts drive-throughs unless they're part of an approved PCD. So the policy issue would be to allow this property as part of the PCD to have a drive-through for a proposed restaurant. Next one is the 12-slip marina. Basically, again, this is another use that has to be approved with the PCD because otherwise it's a special exception use in community commercial and Ridgewood development. The applicant's proposing to construct this 12-slip marina as part of as an accessory use to the PCD area where somebody could pull up in a boat and go to one of the restaurants, or perhaps a charter business could be established there. The next one is the reduced building setbacks for the current Catfish restaurant building. Again, this is just establishing the existing setbacks where if something were to happen to the restaurant, they could rebuild in the same location. The next is the varied landscape buffer width along Dunlawton. Currently, a 20-foot landscape buffer is required along Dunlawton Avenue. They're showing a varied landscape buffer. It's at 25 feet at the widest, 3 feet at the smallest, and then the existing Catfish parking lot would remain in its current configuration. It kind of has an unusual circumstance where the actual right-of-way line is, I believe it's about 55 feet from this corner here out to the sidewalk. So there's actually a larger grassed area in front of their property line than is normally seen with the rest of the properties along Dunlawton, where your right-of-way line goes right up to the sidewalk, and then you have your buffer right behind that. So they're proposing the reduced setback, or the reduced buffer area. They're still gonna plant the required landscaping buffer plantings within that area to enhance the buffer and the aesthetics of the front of the proposed multi-tenant building. The next is allowing on-street parking spaces. Currently, the code does not permit parking spaces to back out onto a right-of-way directly. The applicant's proposing the 5 parking spaces here along Halifax to serve the marina use. Basically, looking at this area, the traffic is proposed to, or the cars are proposed to back out into the nearest lane of traffic. It's a slow-speed road, and that would be the request for that. And then the off-site signage. Currently, the PCD allows the off-site signage for Aunt Catfish to direct to the parking lot. This would just further expand on that, where if there was a use, for instance, in the multi-tenant building proposed, and they wanted a directional sign at the Cantina restaurant driveway, they would be able to put a small directional sign there. And then also for Catfish itself to have a tenant panel on any proposed monument signage in front of the multi-tenant building, they'd be reserved a tenant panel on that sign. So staff is recommending approval of the future land use amendment, and then also the rezoning and MDA restatement, subject to approval of the policy issues and approval of the future land use amendment. Any questions?
Do you have any questions for Gwen, or do you want to wait until after we hear from the developer?
I don't have any right now.
You all good down
Let's hear from
Good,
Brandon first.
thank you.
there? Would the developer like to come on
Brendan Galbraith, 4190 Halifax, property owner and partner in one of the pieces. I'm glad to have this in front of you tonight. It's a big step for us, and I think it's a big step for the city, especially with what's going on north of it, and already going on north of it, starting 3 blocks north, working back 1 block, and coming back to the corner block, which is going to hopefully happen. But some of the stuff, just kind of with her going through the 5 or 6 items, a lot of that gets, in my opinion, gets to be like old side of town stuff. Like 4147. I think it's 40 feet wide at the small strip south of La Cantina. I mean, I think, and I've heard, council and planning commission talk about, you got to do things a little bit different across the, on the old side of town, because a lot of narrow lot lines and a lot of stuff, because that 4147 is not developable by itself. So that's just, one small example of, how PCD can, kind of bring some positive to the area when straight zoning or just small lots would just flat out sit there, because in that situation you got La Cantina, and then to the south you have another property owner, and you got a 40-foot strip. So that just popped in my mind when she was talking about these types of things can be achieved through the PCD, and I think that's the great thing about PCDs. But our goal with this whole thing is, I've always kind of said, kind of jokingly, but just being true, I was always like a small fish in a big pond. The big guys going across the street, whether it was Buddy years ago trying to do his deal, or now it's Bristol, and those guys have their role. But I think I have my role too, and our role is certainly being a local business and kind of growing out of that. And we're certainly proud of what we did with Catfish, for 42 years now, almost 43. But I think, with this next step, with getting the corner finally, that's been vacant for, 10 or 15 years, or maybe more, I'm not sure, and that's just off the top of my head. And then kind of, having La Cantina and doing the connection, kind of the internal connection on that east side of La Cantina building to have that circulation flowing, and kind of, I think that driveway has worked out real nice off of Halifax Drive, because that takes people off of the Meeker, or even cutting down, kind of gets them, cut off of Halifax before Meeker. And I'll have to give Lance credit, because he picked up on it on my last round here. Build the 2-story, the drive-through with the apartment. And your question specifically was, are you going to be able to build on top of that structure? And I referred, well, the engineers will figure it out. Well, they didn't figure it out, so we had to bulldoze it and build. So good for you on that one. But I think this is going to be a really, really good project, and I think it's just one more step. And I don't think this is the final project. I think there's other properties in the future that can come into it. When things become available, and I think you just kind of keep stepping down the way, whether it's more riverfront stuff or if it's more Ridgewood stuff. I think this project keeps growing. But off of what you see here, we intend to do the corner very quickly. I anticipate, I think you've seen the elevation that's in your packet, I think. We anticipate moving into the construction plans very quickly once we get approval from council. And then we'll do that one right away is the goal, and then we'll probably move on to the office building to the south, and then we'll probably do the marina as a third project after that. And then at some point within all that process, we'll get the La Cantina and Catfish for remodels. Those are both so. And the goal is to get all those properties brought up to par, architecturally and all that stuff. So similar to what we did with our Casual Bird place across the bridge, if you're familiar with that project, kind of that had the old eaves like Aunt Catfish did or does. So I think you might see that at some point. We'll cut the eaves and get that building a little more vertical. So that's kind of La Cantina can have some of those same features. So I think 5 years from now, I think you're going to see a whole different situation with our side of the street. And then if we can get the fellows on the other side of the street to do what they're talking about, I think we're going to have the home run down there on that corner on that waterfront. So, but I can answer any specific questions. I mean, those were just some of the things that came to my head when I was listening to her talk. But I'm happy to be here, and if we can keep moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Maria, you want to start off?
First of all, I was going to ask you, Brendan, don't go anywhere. Have you met with any of the residents down there to get a feel for how they?
Yeah, I talked to my wife. She's perfect. Have I met with any residents?
I'm just curious if you've presented this and how they kind of feel about it.
I guess I would say I have talked to everybody within my block.
Okay.
It's only 3 houses outside of my family. But south, I have not had any specific conversations. But I have, I get all positive within my block,
Okay.
but I've had no conversations south of Meeker, if that's more specific.
And you're not tearing my house down, right? You're leaving it sit there like that?
Which house are you talking about?
The house within this.
The
that
purple
you're
house?
gonna
Yeah.
have the parking across the street.
We call it the purple house. It's,
my
yes,
house.
no, it's absolutely a stand, yeah.
And that parking, do you plan on paving it? Or is it
On the
gonna be
waterfront?
parking on the grass? Yeah, the waterfront.
No, it'll be improved.
parking.
Yeah, it'll be improved. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and just one aspect on that, I think one thing with that, I think traffic calming is an important thing, and we're gonna maybe add some elements within that area that can do some traffic calming, because certain times of the year that can be a cut through area.
Well,
for people.
my next question was gonna be, how are you gonna control who parks there?
I mean, I haven't thought about it.
Cause you want it mainly to be for marina, right?
Yeah, well, it's going to be within the count. It's all common parking, I believe, within the PCD. Is that fair to say or not fair to say?
Common parking.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I don't know that we'll identify it. I mean, I haven't thought overly deep about that question, but I don't know that
Okay.
we'll identify it. I mean, at some point, we have people parking Catfish parking lot, and
Right.
I don't play the parking police, I guess, if that's a fair answer.
Yeah.
But good effort initially. I don't know if that
Okay.
answers your question or not.
Yep. Oh, good.
Well,
I don't have any questions, yeah.
Lance?
I think this is just an evolution of what we should expect, and I think, again, Brendan's doing his side of the street, and this is what we knew was going to come. And again, we talk about the success of this area, and the success of this area is going to need to be with a few little policy issues that might need to be done to help him out. But I think that that this is what is has been common, and this is what I think that the city is looking for moving forward. And I think this is just something that just is paperwork right here.
I agree.
That it?
Mhm.
Newton?
I like what I'm seeing. I have very few concerns about it. I'm going to be the one to say it. The thing I'm concerned about is a little bit with the traffic. Having a drive-through there. There's a lot of drive-throughs in the city and in the area that wind up stacking out onto the road. And so does the school that I waited in 10 minutes to get past this morning. But that's really my only concern, is that we wind up stacking traffic out onto the road, and that at peak times even though you have a lot of parking altogether, I know at dinner time it can be hard to get a parking space, but it meets the requirements. And you're a smart man, and figure out something to get your customers in the door. That's it.
John?
Yeah, just want to get clarity. It's showing a dock, but it's calling it a marina. What is the difference?
3 letters.
Doesn't a marina have more services instead of just a dock?
Well, the marina use is basically a dock would be just for one boat. So
see.
because it's commercial, non-residential use, it has to be called a marina.
Okay.
And they're providing, the requested 12 boat slips. In the MDA, they are not. It states they're not providing fueling services or overnight liveaboards. So it's just really for kind of more come and go.
Kind of like Ponce Inlet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then with the parking spaces, staff anticipates if a water sports person or a fishing guide or somebody decides to run out of there, a family wants to go out on the boat for a sunset cruise or something, they would be parked there for multiple hours. It wouldn't be necessarily come and go traffic from that location.
Yeah, touched on what Maria said about the parking between the docks. That would be something, if you're gonna dock your boat there, should it specifically say for marina use only parking? 'Cause when you dock a boat, you get off of there, you may even bring your car there with supplies to walk onto the dock to drop it off in the boat or stuff like that.
I think that's something the property owner can you know, think about it, maybe they wanna provide signage at the time of site plan, but it's not necessarily something that needs to be in the MDA, unless you wanna recommend that it be for marina only, but that's not what's being requested by the applicant. And then, like, the applicant was saying, the parking is shared across the entire PCD area, so it's up to the applicant whether he wants to limit that parking.
Yeah, I mean, the parking, they've done a lot of extra work spreading the parking lot throughout the area. I go there on Sundays, and, you know, sometimes I'll park in one area or in the other area. This little 5-unit should, I mean, I would like to see it specifically for the boats, because there is gonna be sufficient parking for everything else. If it would kind of be a courtesy to anyone that's willing to dock their boat there, they may be able to have access to parking there, because there's gonna be people parking in there that are just going there for a Sunday brunch or a dinner or whatever. It's a thought. That's some.
But there's no like sidewalk or anything either to get to Catfish or whatever if they did park there to go to the restaurant.
There's a sidewalk on the west side
On
of
the
the
west
street.
side, that's right,
And,
yeah, you're right.
in the CDP, they're proposing to have like a crosswalk to guide people from those parking spaces over to the sidewalk.
Got
Would there be overnight tie-up on that marina?
No, the MDA restricts the overnight tie-ups, so.
But they could be there during the daytime hours.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they could come in there, dock in the morning, and before sunset, they could kind of pull the ropes out and leave. Theoretically.
There's a Ukrainian
Yes.
farmer that has a parking control vehicle that you could use for.
I'm just, I do a lot of boating and I do a lot of sailing, and I'm just thinking from that perspective, not from a person that wants to go in there just to eat with a car. If it's a boat, I'd like to park nearby, so that I have access to something. Or, you know, there are times you want to take a family member on the boat, grandparents, say, hey, park at the docking, and then walk on the boat, and we can go sailing or boating or whatever. It's a convenience. I mean, you're building something there that's awesome. Just trying to look at the use for that can provide additional benefits to people that want to take their boat out there. That's my thought.
Quick question for you, Gwen. I know, I was looking at this unit on the corner, and I'm looking at the traffic pattern, and the one thing I wonder, and you know, this is the dumb accountant talking to you on this one, but on the, what would be the kind of the southwest corner, you've got 2 rows of parking, some nosing into the building, some nosing away from the building, and then you've got the traffic behind there, which leads to the drive-through traffic. And we've got a kind of a similar situation on Nova Road. And in the morning, you've got people lined up like crazy to go get a cup of coffee, and those spots almost become worthless because you've got such a line of traffic trying to get in or out of there. It makes it kind of tough. And I don't know if that's something that's an engineering issue that we need to do. I mean, obviously we have to have a certain amount of parking spaces, and you've got that. That's the only thing I'm just thinking
Yeah,
about
this-
is there a way of doing that? And just looking at it, I don't see it.
Well,
But
the,
again,
the
that's
site
the
plan,
account.
or their concept plan that's on there.
Yeah.
It meets the current code requirements.
Okay. But I was just thinking, you know, from a traffic flow, that area on Nova Road can get pretty crazy next to pack and ship. When people are lined up to get in and out of there, it's hard to use those parking spaces.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe, like I said, it meets the current code requirements.
Okay.
I mean.
And
can't
there's,
really
I don't
require
know
more,
if, like I
but
said, I don't know of a way to solve that. I mean, that's
Employees
just
can
a
park
dumb
there that are
account,
gonna be
so.
parked for multiple hours. There's
Right.
also, we don't know the tenants for sure that are gonna be in that
Yeah,
building. They
exactly.
might all have different peak hours that people are trying to
Yeah.
go in and out of the building, so. But it does meet current code requirements.
That was the only,
for
I just saw
stacking.
that and I went, you know, I'm sitting in that line once in a while, I'll go in.
I know what you mean.
No, it would not be fun working here. Okay, any other questions?
I do got one more question.
Yes, sir.
So in all of the boat slip counts that we've talked about over the years, do these boat slips, are they in that count? And that the state allows or the county allows, or who allows all the boat slips
Yeah,
that we've
they-
been talking about for years?
They go through the county to get the boat slip
They are?
allocation. That's the
Cool.
word.
Okay, alright.
So St. John's Water Management has no hearsay on that.
Yeah, if they go forward for site plan, they're gonna be subject to all
Okay.
state, St. Johns County requirements for.
So that should be around in 2035.
Isn't there a limit on the number of boat slips in the basin? I mean, isn't
Yeah,
that how?
there is, but I don't know that number off the top of my head.
Okay, so
The-
these are allocated based on the overall allowance,
Mhm.
I guess, right?
Yes, we have a pool for the city for allocation of boat slips within the city for marinas.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
No questions, just a comment.
Yes.
I just wanted to say I think it's a great plan. I love the way it looks. I'm so happy to see something done with that corner. Like, I grew up here like Brendan, and it's just been an eyesore for so many years, even when there was a building there, oddly enough.
Shell station.
So, yeah. So I'm super, super happy to see something done. Brendan always does a great job with his projects. I think, like Lance said, despite the couple little things we kind of have to give on, I think it'll be worth it for the end result. That's it.
Do we have any comments from the public? Hearing none. Okay, I think we're ready for a vote then.
Vote on the first one first?
Mr.
Yeah, we're
Chairman,
gonna vote on 4 and 5.
Which one has the six policy issues that needed to be included?
The second one, I think.
That was the second one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first motion then is, roll up to the top here. That is, amend the comprehensive future use map to change the FLU designation on 1.44 acres from commercial to mixed center use or mixed use center. And that was case number 21-200000002. All in favor, please, actually, let's
No,
call
we
the
need a
roll. We
motion.
need a motion. No, we had the motion.
We
had
had
the
the
Oh, that's
We
motion.
need
right,
to
from
roll.
the beginning.
We just gotta call the roll now.
Maria Mills Benet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Yes, motion's approved 6-0. The second issue is, I shouldn't have scrolled this far down. Second issue is to rezone plus or minus 1.88 acres to Catfish Commons planned commercial development and to approve the restatement of the Catfish Commons PCD Master Development Agreement and the conceptual development plan. That was case number 21-65000002. Will the clerk read the roll, please? Call the roll.
Subject to approval of policy issues and the future land use amendment.
Subject
Do you need
to.
a new motion on that?
You need a new
Yes.
motion
Do we
now?
need to motion that like that?
You need to make a motion to amend the motion, and then we'll have to.
Okay.
Okay, I make a
approve the
motion
original
to amend the original motion. We need a second?
Yes, we need a second on that.
Second.
All right, now we need a motion, or we need a vote on the amendment to the original motion.
And then you vote on the.
And then we
original
vote on the motion,
Yes.
right. So we can do this, do you need this by roll call on the amendment?
Yeah, might as well.
All right, please call the roll.
Maria Mills Benet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Now you vote on the.
Now we need a
original
motion, or a vote on the amended motion. So will you call the roll, please?
Maria Mills Benet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. All right, congratulations.
You gotta stay now. You gotta stay. No leaving, no.
If you leave, we all get free dinner.
No, we can't do that.
Bring us some hush puppies, here you go.
Yeah. Throw hush puppies at us.
Little cinnamon rolls.
Yes, now we're talking.
All right, now, the next two items I've been told also can be grouped together. So we need a motion on number 3, is that right?
Number 6.
It's item 6.
Item 6?
Item 6
And
and item
7.
7. Motion to approve case number 22-2000002.
Second.
Hope I got enough zeros in there.
You did.
Okay, and then we need a motion on the last one.
Can we
Whoop,
just put
I
a
was
little
checking.
description in the
When you
That's
read
just
your
the
motion,
case.
right?
Yeah, just when you read the motion to, instead of just the case number.
All right, rezone plus or minus 4.99 acres from planned commercial development to community commercial, and a plus or minus 0.16 acres from commercial industrial to neighborhood preservation, and plus or minus 0.81 acres from Ridgewood Development RD to mobile home residential.
Wait, I think you're reading the wrong one.
Am I reading the wrong one? All right, sorry.
Yeah, you
Remember
should be
that.
on number 6.
Amend the well, if you'd have read this thing, I wouldn't have this problem.
I didn't know I was supposed to read it.
Amend the comprehensive plan future use map to change the FLU designation for plus or minus 0.81 acres from commercial to urban medium density residential, 4 to 6 units per acre.
There you go.
All right, we have a second on that?
I'll
Somebody-
second.
All right, we have a second. Now let's go to the other one. Somebody want to read the thing and do a motion?
I make a motion to approve case number 22-600000003, an administrative request to rezone 4.99 acres from planned commercial development PCD to community commercial, plus 0.16 acres from commercial industrial to neighborhood preservation, and plus 0.81 acres from Ridgewood Development to mobile home residential.
Now we have a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now we have a staff presentation by Mr. Gideon Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gideon Smith, Planning. So the first item is a small scale future land use amendment for 5360 Dubois Avenue. Subject property is located in the southern portion of the city, west of Ridgewood Avenue, near Harbortown Village. So the proposed amendment is a change of future land use designation of the subject property from commercial to urban, medium density residential. The property is currently vacant and has a commercial future land use designation. However, it was occupied by a mobile home over the past 20 years up until 2020, the year 2020, when the home was demolished. So as you can see on the screen, access is not available using Ridgewood, so all vehicular traffic would have to use the existing residential roadways to get to the site. So if approved, this amendment will encourage the redevelopment of infill property that's compatible with the existing residential area, and will remove a commercial designation that could allow for higher levels of traffic to impact the surrounding area. The proposed future land use amendment is being processed concurrently with a rezoning application to rezone the subject property from Ridgewood Development to mobile home residential to make the subject more compatible with the surrounding area. All public facilities have adequate capacity to accommodate the proposed amendment, and the proposed designation is compatible with the surrounding area. So therefore, staff recommends approval of the proposed future land use amendment.
Okay, and if you want to go ahead and talk about the second one.
So the next item for consideration is an administrative rezoning for 3 areas to establish appropriate conventional zoning categories. Area 1 is the Port Orange Plaza, Hardee's, Rossi's heating and air properties, which consists of about 5 acres. So rezoning these properties from planned commercial development with no master development agreement to community commercial was anticipated to assist with the redevelopment of the properties. The list of permitted uses in the community commercial zoning district is more current and flexible when compared to the list of permitted uses from the 1990s that are included in the land development code for planned commercial developments without master development agreements. So generally, the community commercial zoning district typically permits community scale commercial uses that are commonly found in shopping centers and out parcels of this type. So overall, the list of permitted uses in the proposed zoning district and development requirements in the code is a more efficient process to redevelop infill properties. I would like to note that all of Area 1 is located within the Port Orange Town Center community redevelopment area. And at this time, there are no redevelopment plans for the properties. However, the rezoning is being processed to encourage redevelopment in this area by setting clear development standards set forth by the Land Development Code, which leads to a more efficient review process at the time of redevelopment. So moving on, Area 2 is located at 411 Church Street. It's just south of Port Orange Elementary. The subject property consists of it consists of 0.16 acres and is currently vacant. So even though the property has been zoned commercial industrial for over 2 decades, it was used as a residence up until 2006 whenever the home was demolished. Due to the size of the property and the development requirements for industrial uses adjacent to residential, it's unlikely that the site would be developed with an industrial use. So if rezoned to neighborhood preservation, subject property could be redeveloped as a residential property once again, which is more consistent with the surrounding area. And the third area is located at 5360 Dubois Avenue. This is the same property that we discussed with the future land use amendment. So the subject property is currently zoned Ridgewood Development, but was originally developed with a residential mobile home. The property was annexed into the city in the early 2000s with a Volusia County commercial zoning designation. But since a home was on site whenever the property was rezoned to the city's Ridgewood Development District, the home was permitted to remain. However, the home was demolished in 2020, and any redevelopment of the site under the current zoning would be required to be commercial. And as I mentioned previously, since the property doesn't have access to Ridgewood Avenue, all traffic would travel through the existing residential streets. And the areas to the south and west are all residential, so this rezoning, the rezoning to mobile home residential will make it more compatible with the existing development pattern and provides an opportunity for the property to be developed as a mobile home. And just overall, as with all development, any proposed changes to the properties are required to be reviewed by the Staff Development Review Committee to ensure all code requirements are met. And this includes items like landscaping, parking, building setbacks, tree preservation, stormwater, and floodplain regulations. So in closing, overall, the proposed rezones to conventional zoning categories are generally consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and the surrounding areas, and staff is recommending approval of the rezoning of all 3 areas. So with that, this concludes my presentation. Staff's available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Mr. Green.
So the city's doing all of this, all of these individual different properties, not some applicant, not,
That's correct.
okay, but the property owners obviously know about it, or how does that go? This is something that,
Yeah, so we reach out to all the individual property owners and let them know that, we were working on administrative rezoning and asked if they'd, like to be part of it. And, that's done at the cost of the city.
okay.
And they all agreed. They, gave us the authorization to submit the application on their behalf.
So overall, I got no problem with any of them. I just want to know, so back to the Port Orange Plaza then. So we are expanding what can be put into that old plaza? Is
Yeah,
that
so
what we're
under
doing?
if it is approved, the community commercial zoning district allows additional uses than what the code currently allows for a PCD without an MDA.
Gotcha, okay, yeah, I'm good.
Mr. White?
I have no questions. I mean, I have one, but it's really rhetorical.
There's
And
no answer.
how we had, what, 2 or 3 of these properties was commercial or industrial use, yet you said that up until the time the house got demolished, destroyed by a hurricane or whatever, that we had residents on them. How did anybody ever come to put something industrial commercial that somebody's living on in a house or a mobile home? It's no problem to correct the error, but how we ever made that error, it just makes me shake my head.
Same way as you live above the barn, you know what I mean? You just do.
Mr. Junko?
So with the mobile home property, this is, in simplest way, a variance that was submitted by the city. Because you had to reach out to people to see if they were okay with it?
No, it's not a variance. It's still rezoning. With rezonings, the property owner has to give approval. Typically, if it's initiated by them, they'll be the one signing the application. But we reached out and had to get them to give us the authorization to
So
represent
they all
them.
signed within a radius of that property, and because it was affecting their general area where their house was or their property?
The property owners of all the
Okay.
areas, the specific properties,
How many-
Not the neighbors.
not the neighbors.
Okay. All right, and how many property owners did that actually affect?
So the Port Orange Plaza that area had 3 property owners. The Dubois had 1 or 2 owners technically, and then the Church Street was 2
Okay.
owners.
All right, thanks. Thank you, I'm done.
Mr. Wolfman?
That's all I'm gonna need.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, when I read through this, I got through, I wondered about, well, some of the questions were asked, is this an option for the property owners? Can they decline? And if they accept it, what is the overall benefit? In other words, what's it look like now? And what will it look like after the rezoning is done? How is this beneficial?
So the property owners could have declined if they didn't want us to move forward with proposing these rezones. The benefit is the city staff represents the property owners and requests the rezoning on their behalf.
Mm-hmm.
The fee schedule, saves them some money because they don't have to pay for the application fee. So, staff is doing this as an ongoing maintenance effort to clean up the zoning map.
So the whole idea of this is to change the face of that area eventually? Is that what we're thinking about, or?
It's really just to make these properties more compatible with surrounding areas. The two mobile home, or the mobile home site and the Church Street, they're zoned for commercial, even though historically they've been residential. And then for the Port Orange Plaza, it's just to rezone it to a conventional zone district. So there's cut and dry regulations rather than just a planned commercial development with no MDA, that sets forth the development regulations.
Yeah, I was more, interested in how it would affect the commercial part of it, the actual plaza itself. And, it's not been historically the most beautiful plaza in the area, but, I was just curious if this is something that will maybe elevate the plaza, locally, and if it gives them a benefit. I'm still not sure what you said, if that's the case, but,
It just clears up what the development regulations are. So if the site was redeveloped, right now there's no, dimensional standards. So if they wanted to add a building or anything, we wouldn't be able to, tell them, okay, here's your setback. So it has to be cleaned up, and by going to a conventional zone district, it helps with that.
I got it. Thank you very much.
I'm good.
Good. Kind of piggybacking on what Bo was saying. So does it give them more possible business uses that can be in that?
Yes.
So there is a possible, it does open up the throttle a little bit
Mm-hmm.
as far as what they can put in there. But we can't go back in and say, well, you have to change the whole fascia and striping the parking lot or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, not unless
that's
any
not what this is all
proposed
about.
development
Okay.
came forward.
This is just cleaning up what they could
Yeah.
do.
And it doesn't affect any of the current tenants.
Okay. Okay. But if they want to bring somebody else in, it gives them more potential tenants. All right. Sounds good. Any other staff questions or comments? Or staff questions or comments? Commission member comments? Looks like the public left.
Have Robert.
Yeah, where's Robert tonight?
Yeah.
He's slacking.
I think you're good, Katie. Thank you. So let's go ahead and try and read these again.
Call the roll.
Yeah, so we've got the first one, which is the case 22. Do you need us to read the? Okay, 2000002. Will you please read the roll?
Maria Mills Bonet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Yes. Motion carries 6-0. Second one is case number 22600003. Will you read the roll, please?
Maria Mills Bonet.
Yes.
Bo Bofamy.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes.
Chair Stan Schmidt.
Yes. That also passes 6-0. Other business, any commissioner comments? Lance, you got anything for us?
No, I have none right now.
All right. Newton?
Last month, we approved, and I suppose it went to council, the old Well, I knew it as the Halifax Bank Building on Nova. Can't remember the address. Across from all the board
Gateway
stores.
Bank.
3785 Nova Road.
Recently did.
Oh, okay.
Since he built it, yeah, that's.
Well,
it.
yeah, because he built
Still
it.
got that file.
And I drive by there yesterday or today, and now that nobody's maintaining the landscape on it. So, yeah,
Code enforcement.
that's it.
Mr. Junko?
I have nothing.
Nothing? Mr. Buckman? Ms.
I'm
Bennett?
good.
I'm good too. Any staff comments? We did good?
Oh, come on.
Hearing no staff comments, no public comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second. All in favor, please
Aye.
signify by saying aye or leaving the
Aye.
room. Motion carries 6-0.
Aye, bye.
That's it.
Yeah.